This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
And the time right now is 4:27 here. It is Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. A few stories to get to before we get into the show today, starting with police force and use of force, a big topic here in Indianapolis after two incidents this past week, last week that is, where police used force here in Indianapolis. So today we're going to be hearing from FOP on their response to the new measures put in place by the mayor of Indianapolis and also the police chief. They're talking about adding body cameras to the force. This has been a topic of discussion for some time now, so we're going to hear more about that, as well as a new review board that they're working on and working to put together to look over some of these cases. So we'll have those stories coming up, plus hearing from the victim's family in this case. And so we'll have all of those details and responses coming up here on the show. Another story we are following for you today has to do with the coronavirus in Indiana, and we have the latest case numbers right now and what that means for the state. New cases as of yesterday from the state health department, more than 500, bringing our total number of cases to more than 25,000 since this pandemic first began. We also recorded 33 new deaths, bringing the death total to more than 1,400 in the state. We can also tell you more than 150,000 Hoosiers have been tested so far, and we know that testing is expanding across the state. New sites have been opening up, and so we are expecting those cases numbers to go up as more Hoosiers are getting tested for the virus. We do want to take a turn right now to our forecast. Check in with Todd Clausen and see what we can expect for our Wednesday. Todd, yesterday the sunshine really helped to make it feel like a nicer day, but what can we expect for our Wednesday?
You know, I think there's probably a little more in the way of cloud cover today, Lauren, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. There'll be some sunshine, I think, here to start the day. And you can see our temperatures not quite as cold as they were yesterday. We're sitting in the 30s and 40s this morning all across the area with a quiet radar. That is the good news. Temperature-wise, fairly similar to yesterday. We'll get up to about 60 to 61 degrees for our high temperature, but not as much in the way of sunshine. So we'll call it mostly cloudy. This afternoon, there could be a few very light spotty showers in southern locations, but today is the last of what I'll call the cooler days in our forecast. Tomorrow, we make a big jump forward up into the 70s. Once we get there, we stay there all the way through the weekend. More on that coming up here throughout the course of the morning.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Another story we are following for you today comes from our own Alyssa Donovan. She's talking to students from high school who just got their CNAs, and they're jumping right into the front lines, working at nursing homes and the residents there. We know those are hot spots for COVID-19, and a lot of them around our state are dealing with cases. So we're talking to students and also the teacher with this program about what it's like sort of jumping right into things right after high school. We'll have that story plus news, weather, and traffic coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Every member of our community should feel that they can depend on our police to protect and serve residents equally.
Now at 4:30 on Good Morning Indiana, Mayor Joe Hogsett promising more transparency and accountability from Metro Police in the wake of two deadly shootings. What changes are coming to IMPD and the response from the FOP. With millions of Americans unemployed, side hustles are becoming the new normal for a lot of families. Working for you details on how you can turn your hobbies and interests into money makers. And if you think your grocery bill is a little higher these days, you may be right. Why prices on certain staples are surging and when your wallet could see some relief. Before we get to those stories today, I want to thank you for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen, social distancing and reporting from home this Wednesday morning. Todd, we're halfway through yet another work week. What can we expect as we head out the door early this morning?
You know, today is kind of that transition day for us, Lauren. We started off the week really chilly with highs in the 40s on Monday. Yesterday, we got into the 60s. Today, we're there. Tomorrow, 70s. So today, we're starting to turn the tide here on what was March-like weather, and we're going into more May-like weather here forward throughout the remainder of the day. Still a little cool this morning, but not as cold as it has been. We're looking at temperatures currently sitting in the 40s in all locations, with a few 30s there sprinkled in Greenfield as well as Crawfordsville, 36 in Richmond. Throughout the day today, we'll notice the clouds increase a bit throughout the course of the day. And right now we're starting off with sunny skies, but this storm system to the south could on a few showers in southern locations here throughout the day today. Anything will be very, very light. Otherwise, temperatures right around 60 degrees. We'll talk more about that warmth that builds in over the course of the next couple days. And with the warmth comes some rain. More on that in just a few minutes, Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you throughout the show. Right now, let's get a look at traffic as you're heading out the door on this Wednesday. Here's a look in downtown I-65, a view here near Washington Street. Now, we have been monitoring that I-70 closure from downtown over to the east side. Both directions still closed this morning, so we want to make sure you're aware of that. But you may remember that March 13th is the day that the eastbound lanes were supposed to reopen after about a month closure. So far, INDOT is saying that those are set to open tonight. So throughout the day today, you'll still need to avoid those lanes on I-70 heading eastbound, but hopefully by your commute tomorrow morning, everything will be back open.
It is our obligation to identify where those credibility gaps exist and how we can address them.
City leaders announcing changes to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department to improve transparency and accountability. Now, that includes a plan to equip officers with body cameras. The move follows two deadly officer-involved shootings that happened within hours of each other last week. In both cases, the officers involved did not have body cameras. While the plan to add body cameras has been discussed for years now, yesterday Mayor Hogsett committed to having all officers equipped with them by this summer. Another change coming, a new force review board. It will be made up of both officers and appointed community members. Mayor Joe Hogsett says that these changes were already in the works, and this will be an ongoing effort. Community leaders we spoke to say this is a step in the right direction, but there's still a long way to go.
The community, understandably, wants the assurance that the city and IMPD are doing everything we can to provide our officers the best equipment, the best technology that protects them and protects the community as a whole.
We still have lots to do in the process, but at least the steps to get us toward a greater degree of acceptability and accountability is being put in place.
In response to the mayor's announcement, the Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police issued this statement saying in part, quote, "We are grateful for such action given that our collective FOP membership called for such an investment 475 days ago. It is disappointing that such announcement takes place suddenly in the midst of two use of force incidents while they're still being examined," end quote. The statement goes on to say that civilian oversight already exists through the Civilian Police Merit Board, which oversees the actions of officers, hiring, promotions, terminations, discipline, and other personnel matters and policy practices of the agency, rather. The FOP statement also condemned city leaders for not addressing the recent threats against IMPD officers and their families. In response, IMPD Chief Randall Taylor took to YouTube to provide a message of encouragement and gratitude to the officers.
You have a tough job, one that's made even tougher by a worldwide pandemic and the events of the past few weeks. I'm aware of threats that are being made towards you. I'm very concerned about this, and I want you to know that threats made to you they're not right, and they won't be tolerated. No one deserves this type of treatment. We're taking all the necessary precautions to protect our staff and their families, and we will resort to legal actions if necessary.
Chief Taylor went on to say that the community will support officers and that his door is always open. It is 4:35. We want to turn now to the very latest on the COVID-19 pandemic. This morning, Mayor Joe Hogsett will discuss steps to reopen Marion County. The county stay-at-home order is still in full effect through at least Friday, despite restrictions being eased across most of the state. Marion County has by far the most confirmed cases of the virus. Look for live coverage of today's update on the IndyChannel.com and the RTV6 app. That'll be starting around 10:30. We want to take a look now at the very latest information from the State Department of Health on the number of coronavirus cases and deaths right now. State Department officials report 566 new cases of COVID-19. So far, more than 25,000 Hoosiers have tested positive since the pandemic began. The state also confirms 33 new deaths from the virus. COVID-19 has now claimed the lives of 1,444 people here in Indiana. If you've noticed your grocery bill is a little bit higher these days, you are not alone. Experts say certain types of food aren't just costing more, some are actually now harder to find. Grocery prices surged last month and the increases are unprecedented. According to the Labor Department, the prices of staples like eggs, meats, and cereals recorded their highest increases in 46 years. Eggs saw the biggest hike, up 16%, but all 6 of the major grocery store food categories are up at least 1.5%. Grocery stores seem to be alone in price increases. Most industries saw declines in April. While some retailers are planning to cut their coronavirus bonuses, Walmart is giving their employees raises. Walmart and Sam's Club employees are getting another round of cash bonuses in June. $300 for full-time workers and $150 for part-time, hourly, and temporary associates. The extra bonus is for working through the pandemic, and it applies to those who work in stores, clubs, supply chain facilities, and offices. The company has previously announced that they are hiring another 200,000 employees to keep up with this demand. With tens of millions of Americans, though, unemployed, more people are turning to side hustles to make their ends meet. This is becoming part of a reality for people across the country as we work to rebound after the coronavirus pandemic. Dr. Christina Huber is an economics professor. She says having a supplemental income is becoming more important in these uncertain times. She also says that things aren't going to get back to normal for a while, so she encourages people to get creative with earning income. Environmental scientist Spencer Scott is one of those people. He says that his side hustle is providing more than money.
It's helped financially a little bit, and it's definitely helped with the psyche. If it keeps going, we'll see after all this craziness is over if I can still keep selling and working on them. I'd love to.
Experts recommend turning your hobbies or interests into money makers to make the transition easier. They also recommend advertising your skills or services online to help drum up business. At 4:38, developing this morning, State House Democrats are speaking out and calling for disciplinary action against State Representative Jim Lucas. Lucas posted a meme to Facebook yesterday that many are calling racist. The image shows black children celebrating, quote, free money. Lucas has not released an official statement, but continues to defend the post on social media and says he will not remove the image. State Representative Robin Shackelford is one of several lawmakers who have released statements about the post. She's calling for Lucas's removal from 2 committees, including the Education Committee. Also developing this morning, former U.S. Representative Todd Rokita says he could become a new Republican challenger to Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill's re-election bid. Rokita issued a statement after the state Supreme Court ordered a 30-day law license suspension for Hill over the allegations that he drunkenly groped 4 women during a party. Rokita said that Republicans could lose the Attorney General's office if Hill is nominated at June's state party convention. Hill's suspension takes effect Monday. He named his chief deputy as his temporary replacement, but it's unclear if he can do that under state law. Now, Governor Holcomb has asked for clarification from the Indiana Supreme Court. Well, did you see that? A spectacular sight in the skies over Indianapolis and several communities yesterday. The Navy's Blue Angel honoring those on the front line against the fight against the coronavirus with that flyover took place Tuesday afternoon. The 6 FA-18CD Hornet aircraft made about an 11-minute flight over all sides of the city. The flight leader says that this was all about showing how much the nation relies on those frontline responders and that we have their back just like they have ours.
There is a real risk that you will trigger an outbreak that you may not be able to control.
Dr. Anthony Fauci issuing a warning against states and cities he says are opening up too quickly. Still ahead, the message he and other top health experts have for lawmakers in Washington. Todd.
And finally, Lauren, on the temperature map, we're starting to see more yellows and greens across the areas as we push to blue, which are the colder temperatures off towards the northeast. A big warm-up is on the way in the coming days. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 4:40. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
Welcome back. It is 4:44. Testifying from home before a Senate panel, some of the nation's top health experts are warning lawmakers that reopening too quickly could have serious consequences. Their message is at odds with the president, who's pushing to get the country back up and running again. ABC's Inez de la Cuetara is in Washington now with the latest.
Overnight, the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, with a stark warning.
It's my concern that if some areas, cities, states, or what have you, jump over those various checkpoints and prematurely open up, is that we will start to see little spikes that might turn into outbreaks.
Fauci's message at odds with President Trump, who insists the nation is ready to get back to work. More than 82,000 people now dead in the U.S. from COVID-19, but Fauci cautioning that number could be higher.
I'd just like to hear your honest opinion. Do we have the coronavirus contained?
We don't. I think we're going in the right direction, but the right direction does not mean we have by any means total control of this outbreak.
Trump recently boasting about testing, noting the U.S. has tested a larger percentage of the population than South Korea. But Republican Senator Mitt Romney arguing,
but you ignored the fact that they accomplished theirs at the beginning of the outbreak, while we treaded water during February and March. They have 256 deaths, and we have almost 80,000 deaths. I find our testing record nothing to celebrate whatsoever.
Fauci's testimony comes as 45 states are now moving to reopen, some without meeting federal guidelines. Arizona letting stay-at-home orders expire May 15th. Georgia now extending stay-at-home orders even after reopening businesses a few weeks ago. And in Los Angeles, the mayor likely extending their safer-at-home order until August.
This is just as dangerous a virus today as it was when it arrived.
Dr. Anthony Fauci added a vaccine is likely, though he doesn't expect one in time for the new school year in the fall. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
It is 4:46. House Democrats have unveiled new details about a new stimulus package they hope to pass later this week. The HEROES Act is more than $3 trillion, and the proposal calls for another round of direct payments to Americans. It would also extend unemployment benefits through January instead of through July. The bill also creates a $200 billion HEROES fund that would provide a hazard pay for essential workers. It would also provide another $75 billion for coronavirus testing, contact tracing, and isolation measures. The bill faces an uphill battle, though. Senate Republicans say they don't plan on voting for a new relief package until June. Democrats are taking the first steps that could lead to a virtual voting of their presidential convention. Tuesday, a party committee decided to allow convention planners to look into alternative voting methods. DNC Chairman Tom Perez says the event set for August in Milwaukee could still take place in person but be modified. A final decision will need to be approved by the full DNC membership. Meanwhile, Republicans say plans for their convention in Charlotte, North Carolina are going full steam ahead, but they also say they will reevaluate the situation prior to the August event. Well, Disney is not throwing away its shot with Hamilton. The company is fast-tracking the premiere of the filmed version of the original Broadway production. The film was set to be released in theaters next fall, but it will now be released on the Disney Plus streaming service July 3rd. It was shot in 2016, just 2 weeks before much of the original Hamilton cast left the production. Something to look forward to. All right, hopefully we can look forward to some warmer weather. Todd Clausen is standing by with what we can expect for our Wednesday. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, that's a guarantee, Lauren. Not today. Today's still on the cool side, but as the warmer air comes in, unfortunately, so do the rain chances, and that's going to be our issue going forward in this forecast. Today, the rain chances are just really, really small and slight in southern locations. And as we work our way throughout the day tomorrow, they'll ramp up a little bit. Friday is a pretty wet day for us across the area, and then Saturday we'll deal with scattered showers and storms as well. So let's dive into the forecast for you. 30s and 40s this morning with skies that are mainly clear. 36 in Richmond, 39 in Greenfield, 47 in Martinsville as well as Bedford, and Bloomington currently sitting at 43 degrees. To the north, the skies are clear. A little more in the way of cloud cover as you see from Bloomington down towards the Seymour area into Greensburg as well. And then there's a few spotty showers that are hugging right along the Ohio River there in southern Indiana. And it's not out of the question this morning and even into the afternoon hours, if you do live south of Indianapolis, that you could get a quick little patch passing shower, but we're not looking at any heavy rainfall today or anything widespread. In fact, if you do see this rain, it really shouldn't even cause an issue for your walk outside later on today if you choose to do so. That's how light it is going to be. Now, with that storm system to our south, there's going to be quite a bit of cloud cover around. We'll break into some sunshine, especially here throughout the morning hours, but overall, it's a mostly cloudy day for us. Temperatures hovering right around 60 degrees again for your high temperature, which is well below normal. Your sunset this evening is at 8:52, but notice the temperatures don't really start to fall off tonight once the sun sets. They'll hold pretty steady, and that's going to set us up for a much warmer day tomorrow. In fact, the temperatures come up a little bit overnight in some areas, and then tomorrow we're looking at high temperatures right around 80 degrees. In fact, I think if we get some sunshine in here tomorrow, we're easily at 80 degrees. Some of you will deal with a little more in the way of cloud cover, but we'll all have to deal with the chance of some scattered storms. So here are your rain chances today in southern locations. You see it's just a hit or miss shower from Bloomington to Greensburg basically, and points to the south. But then overnight tonight, the warm front will start to come in. As this warm front comes in, more scattered showers and storms will develop. But tomorrow's by no means a washout, but we will have to look out for the potential of maybe a few stronger storms with that line that comes through later on Thursday afternoon and evening. But overall, Lauren, a much more spring-like forecast. We have the storms back, we have the warm temperatures back, and unfortunately those storms are with us off and on throughout the weekend before next week it stays mild and we have some quiet weather starting Monday afternoon.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. You can see traffic here right now is traveling up to speed. Still pretty quiet this morning, and you may be wondering when those eastbound lanes of I-70 are reopening. They were set to reopen March 13th. That is today. According to INDOT, those lanes will reopen tonight. So as you're heading out the door this morning, I-70 is still closed in both directions between the North Split and the east side. But then hopefully by this evening, they will be reopening the eastbound lanes for your commute tomorrow. The westbound lanes will be closed for a little bit more than a week as they continue that major construction project, and of course we'll keep you updated. Well, Toyota is rolling out a special edition to the Prius to celebrate the car's 20th anniversary. The company says it will produce exactly 2,020 of the anniversary models. Special edition cars will come fully loaded with 2020 insignia key fobs and floor mats and a color-keyed rear spoiler. In the 20 years since Toyota introduced the Prius, more than 6 million of the hybrids have been sold. Toyota intends to use the Prius anniversary to help introduce entirely new hybrid model lines next week. A release date for the anniversary Prius has not been announced. You can now give a dog a home without even leaving your own home. Pedigree is setting up dog adoptions through Zoom. The dog food brand recently launched meetyournewdog.com. The idea is to allow people to meet their dogs virtually and adopt a pet without having to leave your home. This week, Pedigree is teaming up with the Nashville Humane Association, and Pedigree says it will cover all the adoption fees. The program hopes to expand to more shelters in the future. Krispy Kreme has a deal for graduating seniors. The company is releasing the Graduate Dozen next week. It includes 3 rows of donuts labeled 2020. There are 2 of each chocolate ice cream filled, strawberry ice cream filled, and cake batter filled donuts, along with 6 yellow iced original glazed donuts. And even better, on Tuesday, grads, you can get this for free. All they have to do is prove their status as a graduating senior. The deal is good for students graduating high school or college. Looks pretty good. It is 4:53 here on your Wednesday. Stick around. We'll be right back.
DealDealers.com.
Well, what a wonderful sight to see a Carmel nurse who beat COVID-19 being cheered on by her family and staff as she left the hospital. Leslie Vogel's daughter, Carolina, shared this video with RTV6. Carolina says that her mother was in the hospital for 46 days and 31 of those were spent on a ventilator. She's been documenting her mother's journey on social media. In a Facebook post, she urges people to continue social distancing, saying in part, quote, "Start now, right this second, staying at home and social distancing. You could save someone's life." Always great to see people recovering from this and getting to head home, and we thank her for working on the front lines. All right, Todd, what can we expect as folks head out to start their Wednesday in the forecast?
You know, it's clear right now, so we'll start the day off with some sunshine, but the clouds will gather pretty quickly today, Lauren, with a high temperature right around 60 degrees. But look at the warmth that finally builds in the coming days. With the warmth, though, becomes a pretty active pattern, and you notice numerous chances for rain over the course of the next couple days. Once we get past today, of course, we'll talk in detail about which one of those days are the wettest, and we'll dive into the temperatures as well coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 4:58.